Hello there, I'm Sconchulus, and this is TEPPEN Deck Tech, where I present to you decks that are fun, strong, or interesting. Today we are diving deep into Nero. Not what I meant to say. The buff to True Power has revolutionized green combo decks, so we are breaking down 2 of the best ones. If you just want the Growth 5 deck profile, skip ahead with the timestamp below, they're always there. And let me know down below if this double feature format is something you guys enjoyed and would like to see again. That said, Green Quest is sorta complicated. The payoffs are triggered by adding a card to the EX pocket or by leveling up another unit. However, now the goal is to circumvent the first quest and have Angie Patui trigger all additional quests on board at once. This works to fully level any board at all, the most common being Stoneman.exe into Angie, followed by True Power on Stoneman. This sets up a 6-8 and a 5-7 with shield, along with inherent follow-up from both of Angie's effects. Of course, if you could go for a full board, this goes from solid to game-winning, and that's the biggest strength of Rico. Her shield lets her stick around and charge for our combo, but even without questing, she is the ideal low-risk turn 1 just to build an extra 3 AP. We also have Blade.exe, who we play the same way for a bit less momentum, but also as the ideal follow-up for excess True Power. Little follow-ups like that are the one thing you do with the deck other than big combos. And the biggest combo is Angie into Tender Net Navi Roll. Every effect here is pretty broken, and if Angie and Roll are on the field together, they will loop each other's effects to full level. To do it, Angie, then Roll, then True Power is the full combo, and that's all it will take to win if you use the agility from Angie on Roll as well. With that, we have some room for tech cards. First Time Gambler is to help us brick less and find more varied follow-ups, which is exactly how I would describe Lan, but he works as a starter or a finisher for combos, kinda. He just feels lower risk than the alternative Woodman. Battle Chip Diablos is super wall jump, Disarm is the green card, Breakthrough unbricks and makes our combos stronger, and the last major thing to note is Justice NetNavi Megaman.exe, the coolest card in the deck, and he's 10 times faster now with the True Power buff. You'll have this card ready in the first minute of every game that you have Angie, and with that, finding the opportunity to win is almost guaranteed. Here's the deck QR for the first deck, and with all that said, let's get into it. Game 1, we are up against Breakaway, the very popular purple late game reverse combo sort of deck. It's not a control deck, I don't think. Whatever it is, it makes perfect fodder for our early game combo deck, which we just have to play our cards down in the right order and activate True Power, and we'll start off with our low risk Glide. All we really have to worry about is Nitro Shroom, and when our opponent activates Area Grab instead, we can safely go all in on our combo at 10 MP. We'll play down Stoneman into Angie, into True Power, fully leveling our board into shields and 6 6s, 7 9s across the board. We will save our agility for Glide in the top lane, and he will rush in with Spillover as well as agility, putting our opponent on a pretty serious clock, and at this point, really there's only a single card that could possibly save them. They get Prison Cleaner Akuma to control the entire field at once, and they will also activate the Ecstasy of Ecstasy. It's down to a single unit, but it's really too late. We finish them off for game 1. But it can't always be that simple. So for game 2, we're taking on the most infamous current black deck, Ashura Senku, the most guaranteed to break our combo. Thankfully, we have as many low-risk units as we could ask for, so we will start things off with Rico after charging up to 10 MP, and allowing our opponent to start things off with Marcellus, which, by playing in a different lane, we are able to avoid the destroy effect for longer. Our opponent will activate Flame Mammoth to destroy the shield from Rico, and we will activate the seal on Marcellus and respond to that with antagonist stance to put as much early pressure on our opponent as possible. We will activate our true power on Stone Man to fully level our board, and our opponent will Eddie E the Stone Man eventually. Our board has been fully cracked at this point, but we will follow our first combo up with Breakthrough to escape into Rico, into getting destroyed by Madcap Chase, but that gives us all the time in the world to charge for what will hopefully be a game-winning Angie Cammy combo. That's about as impactful as it gets, and our opponent seems like they're going to let us go for it. We'll go for Angie into Cammy, and at this point we are just waiting for our opponent to use Ashura, and when we activate Angie, the pressure is definitely enough that our opponent has to do something about it. They go for Arrested on purpose to block, but we are able to go for Perfect Partners to get ourselves the double pierce in both lanes, and we will activate Agility to end the game before they can find a Destroy. Hello there, where am I? This isn't right. I could have sworn we already did this. I guess I should just talk about cards and everything should be fine. This version of True Power trades a bit of board pressure for interaction and versatility. The turn 1 pop-off is slightly slower than for Quest, but the payoff of Nico board wiping the opponent is more than worth it. This is accomplished by going Nico, then any 5 or foolproof plan into True Power. Of course, this 10 MP play does require 2 additional MP to work, so we start with either Luca, Chef Mioskiller, or Nero. Each one of these are low-risk units that can follow up into our Nico play, or pivot effortlessly into an equally game-winning Angie or Roll play. Any of these starters into Angie then Roll will fully level all 3 units, and from there, it is the essence of green, almost indistinguishable from the Quest pop-off. Other important lines include Gloria to finish your Angie lines, or rarely to start your Angie lines. Her and Roll are the best targets for agility, but every card in the deck is in the conversation. Foolproof Plan deserves special mention since it lets you drop a Chef Mioskiller as a follow-up, and lets you play more loose and risky in general. Nana also opens up different unexpected combo lines, but they're more limited by requiring 2 board slots, which Foolproof does not. Last of all is Growth's most esteemed card, Beautiful 8, the Princess. Most known for her first effect, that's the only effect you need to learn to use. Otherwise, she's another cheap starter like Nero, but with 1 extra special game-winning final effect. Lastly, Cammy is a quest unit that ends the game, and stealing the show in both decks is Megaman.exe. You know the drill, we already talked about him. Anyway, here's the second deck QR, and with all that said, let's get into it. Game 3, we are up against Amaterasu Thunder Edge, one of the most volatile, high-damage hero arts that can steal the game at any moment. Which I would be a hypocrite to complain about. That's almost exactly what we're trying to do. It's not similar at all past just describing it like that, but the spirit of mid-range and huge combo pop-offs is in both of our decks. Our opponent will start off with Margaret into Whirl our friends, and they will try to kill our Angie with the action that they searched for, but we have 2 wall jumps in hand to protect from both of the actions that could kill Angie. That allows us to charge up to 10 and go for Nico into Cammy, and at this point we're going to get greedy and wait for them to play down their Mimic Leech so that we can go for Nico at that point, clearing their board and getting the impact that we need off of Nico to survive the follow-up with their Nut Troop, which at any point is the Nut Draw for Frenzy. Thankfully, we have already won thanks to all of our momentum. And that's Game 3. Game 4. For our final test, we are taking on the current most popular meta deck of the moment, Bringer of Nightmares, with the newly buffed Gordiant and all the other crazy cards. Our opponent will start off with a classic zombie, one of the best momentum plays of all time, and one of the plays that made me love TEPPEN from the start. And we will start off with Nero into Princess to protect ourselves from their Guardian, and we will follow that up with the Seal to stop the Guardian from getting more follow-up, but they didn't seem to be counting on it and had already played down a unit to crack our shield in the middle lane. And at this point, we take some time to think about our next play, and we will go for Nero drawing into Angie, and we will play down our Angie, following that up with Nana. Our opponent will play down their Sigma, activating their hero art to destroy our Nana, thankfully, the least powerful unit we had, and we will play down Gloria, activating True Power to level her up, protecting ourselves from the MP minus. Our opponent will play down Devlet in the middle lane, and we are not quite able to time her out or get any damage to stop her, so they will steal a unit from our pocket, and they will use Zombie to defeat our last unit, and they clear our board. We will play down Cammy to finally deal with their Devlet given the small opportunity we have, and we will activate our True Power on Angie to destroy their Orichi with a single attack cycle, and at this point we will go for Perfect Partners to try and end the game with the small bit of momentum we have before our opponent can really run their game plan on us. And as a rank 2 player, against a rank 2 player, we really have to take the small opportunity we have, because it looks like we have beaten them in game 4. Here we are again, and the poster boy of green can really do it all, and we love him for it. Both of these decks are kind of must-plays if you're a dedicated green player, especially Quest, honestly. It's more unique, but Growth is also a beloved mechanic that you gotta take your chance to play when it's relevant, so I recommend both of these decks really highly. I do have a budget version for Growth here. Quest, you really need Stoneman and the other cards to play, so I couldn't do that one, but this is pretty playable, I think. I do think that there's a glaring weakness to both of these decks in the high commitment, but that's kind of a problem with every green deck this season. You really gotta pick your poison and just play the deck that you think is the most fun. I've had a ton of fun with this deck, which is why it's one of my most played decks this season. But I have another green deck that I like even more, and if you want to see that, check out the next stream we're doing, where we're gonna be pulling for Iris. And if you listened this far, please let me know down below what time you guys would prefer for streams, if that's something that you watch. Otherwise, just thank you for watching, and as always, please like the video if you liked the video, subscribe if you subscribed. Once again, I'm Sconchulus, and I'll see you in the next one.